Everyone talks, everyone dreams, everyone waits, but only a few force themselves to take action. Today, I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to remind you. No one is coming to save you. No one owes you belief. No one is your friend in the fire. This world doesn't respond to intentions. It responds to results. And if you want results, you have to push yourself beyond comfort, beyond fear, beyond doubt. You have to force it, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. You wake up thinking someone's got your back, yet someone's gonna check in, that they'll ride with you when the storms come. Let me tell you something real. No one is your friend. Not in the way you think, not in the way your heart hopes. When it's time to bleed, you'll be alone. When it's time to climb, you'll feel the wind in your face, not at your back. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Let that settle in. No one is your friend. Not because people are evil, not because the world is cruel, but because this life wasn't meant to be a group project. You were born solo. You will die solo. And the space between, that's your arena. You want loyalty? Look in the mirror. You want backup? Grow your spine. You want applause? Clap for yourself. See, you've been conditioned to wait for someone to believe in you before you move. You've been brainwashed into thinking validation is oxygen. You've been taught that friendship is fuel. But the truth is, you are the fire. The crowd only shows up after the grind. The support only comes after the results. The hands on your shoulder, they disappear when your knees hit the dirt. So stay on your feet, even if they shake. No one's gonna text you when it's 2 a.m. and you're broken. No one's gonna loan you their discipline when you feel lazy. No one's gonna inject ambition into your bloodstream. Cause no one can. Cause no one should. Cause this is your war. Let them doubt you. Let them forget you. Let them walk away. Good, cause when you get to the top, and you will, you'll know exactly who got you there. So stop expecting friends. Be your own army, your own coach, your own fuel, your own vengeance. Let the silence teach you. Let the loneliness harden you. Let the isolation shape you into something unbreakable. Because in the end, when you stand on the mountain, with blood on your knuckles and fire in your chest, you won't need a friend. You'll realize you never did. No one is your friend, and that's your power. You are your only backup. That means when the alarm doesn't wake you, no one's coming to knock on your door. When the pressure builds and your chest is tight, there won't be a hand reaching out to pull you forward. The truth is, if you don't force yourself to take action, no one else will. Not because they don't care, but because they can't live your life for you. They can't carry your burden, feel your hunger, or chase your goals. Every dream you have, every vision in your head, every vision of yourself you see when your eyes close, it lives and dies on your movement. Not motivation, not inspiration, movement. And movement doesn't come when you feel good. It comes when you're tired, uninspired, scared, and alone. That's when you earn it. That's when you separate yourself from the ones still waiting for a sign. If you sit around expecting someone to save you, to call you up and say, hey, let's go win today, you'll rot. If you wait for the perfect moment, the right feeling, the ideal environment, you'll grow old with regret. Nothing changes until you decide to force it. Until you push your body when it says no. Until you drag your mind through the fire. Until you punch through your own doubt, even when it fights back. People say, they take it easy, but champions don't. They take it personally. They take it upon themselves to become everything they said they would, even when the world forgot. They know no one's going to push them, so they do it themselves. They put their phone down when it's easier to scroll. They get up when it's easier to lay still. They write, build, run, sweat, repeat. Not because someone's watching, but because you are your only backup. That means you must be your own motivator, your own alarm clock, your own reason. Don't rely on accountability partners who flake. Don't wait for a crowd to cheer you on. Some days there will be no text, no likes, no praise, no hand on your back. There will be silence, and in that silence you will hear two voices, one telling you to rest, one telling you to rest. Choose the one that hurts. Choose the one that hurts. Choose the one that demands effort. Because the pain of forcing yourself to act is temporary. The pain of regret, that lasts forever. Discipline is a decision, not a mood. You won't always feel like it. You won't always be ready. But readiness is not a requirement. Action is. Get up. Do one rep, one paragraph, one step. And do it again tomorrow. Train your mind to understand that the clock waits for no one. Life doesn't care about your excuses. No one is sitting around hoping you make it. And even if they are, they can't lift the weight for you. Every time you force yourself to act, you gain strength. Mental, physical, emotional. You build the habit of movement. You become dangerous, not because you're loud, but because you're relentless. That's what it takes. Relentlessness. A refusal to quit. A decision to press forward when comfort begs you to stop. You are your own rescue mission. No one's coming to knock for you. No one's staying up late to drag you to the gym. No one's canceling their plans to remind you of your goals. That's your job, all of it. And don't lie to yourself about needing balance. Most people haven't earned that word yet. Most haven't even gone all in. Force yourself into imbalance if that's what growth demands. Let obsession shape you. Let consistency drown out doubts. Let effort become your identity. Even when your legs shake, even when your hands tremble, even when your thoughts betray you, you move. There is power in acting without permission, without applause, without help. That power becomes real. That power becomes real the moment you stop waiting. Force yourself to show up broken. Force yourself to rise tired. Force yourself to begin when the voice in your head says, why bother? Because you are your only backup. Because this world rewards those who move, not those who hope. Because no one is your friend in the fire. And because in the end, all that's left is what you did, not what you planned, not what you dreamed, but what you forced yourself to do. Validation is a trap. It's a cage dressed as comfort. It whispers to you that you're doing great, that you're enough, that you should feel good about where you are. But that whisper is a lie, a delay tactic, a leash around your drum. Because the moment you start needing validation to move, you've already lost control of your momentum. You've placed your purpose in someone else's hands. You've traded your power for applause. And that exchange will cost you every single goal you set for yourself. Force yourself to take action without it. Without the likes, the comments, the praise, the head pats, or the soft reassurance. Act before anyone claps. Act when no one sees you. Do the work while the room is empty and your name is unknown. Because if your action depends on approval, your effort will always be inconsistent. Your discipline will break the moment the spotlight goes out. You'll only be strong when people watch, and that makes you weak when it matters most, when it's just you in the grind. There's a reason you scroll. There's a reason you keep checking notifications. You're looking for proof that you matter, that what you're doing is seen. But you don't need proof. You need movement. You need effort that doesn't beg for recognition. You need to build in silence and let the results make the noise. That's what taking action means. Doing what must be done regardless of who's watching, regardless of who's cheering, regardless of who believes. You don't need to be told you're doing enough. You need to do more, not to impress, but to progress. Not for their approval, but for your own dominance over the voice that says, pause until someone notices you. Validation feeds your ego, but starves your will. It keeps you addicted to perception, trapped in performance mode, scared to fail in public because failure won't earn you praise. But failure is part of the grind, and praise is irrelevant. Force yourself to take action. When the only reward is sweat, when there's no photo to steal, quote to share, just you and the task. That's when real power grows. That's when you become dangerous. Because you've cut the cord between your worth and their words. Because you've chosen to climb without an audience, to bleed without applause. That level of internal pressure creates real change. That's how killers are made. Not in crowds, but in solitude. You'll never build anything legendary if you need people to tell you you're great before you start. You'll never create impact if your work pauses every time someone doesn't clap. Every hour you wait for someone to see you is an hour stolen from your evolution. They don't need to see you right now. They don't need to believe. You need to move. You need to execute relentlessly, like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. Force yourself to take action even when you're invisible. Especially when you're invisible, that's where self-respect is born. When you lift the weight, write the page, take the step, without a solar to validate, you realize you never needed the noise. You only needed your own fire. And once you realize that, you become unstoppable. Because now your grind is unconditional. Now your effort is yours alone. You're no longer a performer. You're a problem. You're a storm. You're a force. Validation is a trap because it makes you wait. It makes you second guess. It makes you wonder if you're worthy of starting, worthy of finishing, worthy of wanting more. But your worth isn't up for a vote. It's proven in action. So act, push. Do the thing even when no one gets it, even when they doubt you, even when they scroll past what you've built. Let them. Keep going. Let them stay silent. Keep going. Let them pretend you don't exist. Keep going. Because when you stop needing validation, you start needing results. You start needing growth. You start needing that feeling of exhaustion after giving everything you've got, not for approval, but because that's who you are now. You become someone who doesn't wait for permission. Someone who doesn't need claps to create. Someone who doesn't wait to be seen to show up. Someone who understands that movement matters more than attention. And consistency crushes popularity every time. So stop chasing the knots, the compliments, the digital applause, when the need for them. Replace it with an obsession for discipline, for execution, for the next rep, the next task, the next fight. Force yourself to take action, because it's the only thing that matters, because validation is a trap, and you're done being trapped. Isolation is preparation. It doesn't feel like it when you're in it. It feels like punishment, like rejection, like silence turned all the way up. But that silence is where your edge is calmed. That space where no one texts, no one calls, no one checks in. That's not abandonment, that's construction. It's where the weak crumble and the strong are formed. And if you want to rise, if you want to become something the world can't ignore, you've got to learn to thrive alone. Not just survive it, own it, use it. Turn that solitude into strategy. Force yourself to take action when no one is clapping, when no one is waiting on your progress, when no one even knows you're grinding. Because that's where the sharpest weapons are forged. In the dark, in the quiet, in the parts of your life where no one's watching. You don't become relentless with an audience. You become relentless when no one's around to see if you gave up. That's where discipline is born, not in the spotlight. In the shadows, when you wake up early and there's no one to post it for. When you train alone and there's no one to film it. When you keep pushing, there's no confirmation that's paying off. That's the point. That's the test. Isolation is where your standards become unshakable because there's no one to impress but yourself. It forces you to find out what you're really made of. Whether you move because you believe or because you want to be seen believing. There's a difference between being alone and being abandoned. Isolation doesn't mean something's wrong. It means something's building, something's shifting. The world quiets around you so your inner voice can get louder. But most people don't want to hear that voice, so they run from the quiet. They chase distractions, cling to company, scroll for stimulation. But all that noise is a mask for fear. Fear of what you might become if you had to face your potential with no buffers, no safety nets, no comfort. Force yourself to take action in isolation, because that's when the pressure is pure. That's when your excuses get exposed. That's when you can't lie to yourself. There's no one to blame, no one to carry you, just you. And that's enough if you make it enough. The real work isn't what people see, it's what they don't. The long nights, the early mornings, the extra reps, the quiet reading, the self-checks, the breakdowns, the rebuilds. All of it done in silence. All of it without permission. That's preparation. That's how greatness grows. People look at those who rise and think they were lucky. What they never see is the season of isolation. The time when no one believed. The months or years of being overlooked, underestimated, counted out. But those moments are necessary. They're not setbacks, they're seasoning. They're what separate those who need motivation from those who are made of it. If you can build when you're alone, you can survive anything. If you can act with no eyes on you, you'll be unstoppable when the spotlight finally shows up. There's power in being alone if you use it right, not to solve, not to stall, to build, to move, to grind so hard in private that public success is inevitable. But it takes a mindset shift. You've got to stop seeing isolation as punishment. See it as permission. Permission to go all in without the distractions. Permission to be selfish with your focus. Permission to rise without having to explain why. Force yourself to keep showing up, even when no one knows. Especially when no one knows. Because that's when it counts most. Don't wait for the noise. Don't wait for the invites. Don't wait for a team to push you. Push yourself. You've got goals that need your full attention. You've got battles that require solitude. You've got standards that won't survive constant validation. So cut the noise. Let them go quiet. Let them forget. Let them doubt. You keep building. You keep climbing. You keep acting. Because every brick you lay in isolation becomes part of the foundation that no storm can shake. Isolation is not the end. It's the beginning of something the world can't stop. But only if you act. Only if you use the quiet to sharpen your weapons, not soften your spirit. Only if you stop waiting for the world to join you and start moving like it never will. Force yourself to take action with no one watching, no one helping, no one cheering. That's how you prepare. That's how you become a problem they never saw coming. No one owes you belief. Prove yourself. That's the raw truth that most people run from. You keep waiting for someone to see your potential, to recognize your worth, to tell you that you've got what it takes. But the longer you wait for that belief, the further you drift from the action required to make anything real. You want support, you want encouragement, you want someone to say, I believe in you, like that's going to unlock your discipline. It won't. The world doesn't hand out belief for free. You earn it. You earn it by moving before anyone thinks you should, by working when no one tells you to, by getting so damn consistent they have no choice but to acknowledge your name. People don't believe in words, they believe in results. You don't prove yourself by talking about what you're going to do. You prove yourself by doing it. You prove yourself by forcing yourself to take action when everything in you says to wait. Wait for better timing. Wait for better energy. Wait for a sign. But signs don't come to the passive. They come to the aggressive, the bold. The ones who show up with nothing but hunger and discipline and decide to outlast doubt. You want them to believe in you? Make it impossible not to. Make your actions so loud that your silence becomes a threat. Make your presence so consistent that your absence is alarming. Stop hoping people will see you and start making sure they can't ignore you. But that only happens when you move, when you act, when you force progress into existence, not with fancy plans, but with relentless execution. Day in, day out, without applause, without permission, without validation. Everyone says they believe in themselves, but belief is only real when it survives without backup. When it shows up after failure, when it keeps going after embarrassment, that's belief. And you can't expect anyone else to feel it for you if you haven't felt it for yourself. You can't sit in stillness and expect someone to come pull you into motion. No one owes you that. It's not their job to believe. It's your job to give them a reason to, and that reason has to be real. It has to be built in the dirt, earned through consistency, through discipline, through the days where motivation is nowhere to be found, and you get up anyway. If you're waiting for someone to validate your grind before you begin, you've already lost. That's not hunger, that's defense. That's you tying your future to someone else's opinion. And opinions are cheap. Belief is earned through movement, through repetition, through the kind of action that doesn't need recognition. You don't need someone to believe in your goals. You need to force yourself to chase them so hard that people believe in you by default. Everyone is watching their own life, their own problems, their own survival. If they don't believe in you yet, it's not personal, it's natural. It's natural. People believe in results, not promises. People believe in actions, not intention. So don't get bitter, don't get soft. Don't sit around wondering why they don't support you. Use it. Use that doubt as fuel. Let it sharpen you, let it sharpen you. Let it push you to go further, harder, deeper. Let it make you so focused that belief becomes irrelevant. Force yourself to take action not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Because deep down, you know what you're capable of. You've seen flashes of it. But flashes aren't enough. You need fire, and fire comes from pressure. Pressure to rise when it's heavy. Pressure to push when it's quiet. Pressure to keep going when everyone's already written you off. You'll never earn belief by staying comfortable. You'll never gain trust by playing small. You'll never inspire anyone, including yourself, by waiting. You've got to show up in the storm. You've got to move when it hurts. You've got to outwork the doubt in your head and the doubt in their eyes. And you've got to do it without complaint, without needing praise, without needing a fan club. No one owes you belief. And that's exactly why it matters so much when you take action anyway. That's exactly why it's powerful when you show up, even when they don't see you. That's how you prove yourself, not by being noticed, but by being noticed, but by being undeniable. You become undeniable by stacking action so tall. That belief becomes a consequence, not a requirement. Keep moving, keep building, keep proving. Let your work scream so loud that silence can contain you. Force yourself to act, not because they believe, but because you refuse to be the one who didn't.